We need some real change. Some real change. Some motherfucking change. Real change. We're all looking for the same type of change. The changing, the real change. None of this dancing around, kind of changing. We'll do it this way, word doctor it a little bit, make it seem like it's okay and it's going to be okay. We're just going to do it this way and baby ourselves and kind of gently walk through on eggshells through everything that's happening right now. It's not going to go that way. We need some real change. We need some real change. And this is what's going on now, folks. Business is not as usual. People go into their jobs. Perhaps you go to your job, we go into our jobs doing our thing, and business is not as usual anymore. The waters are rising, and it's happening everywhere. It's not just in one place or one country. It's happening everywhere. And wherever you are, if you're close to the coastal areas, the water's rising. It's part of the shift. Also, what's part of the shift is that all industry as we know it, everything, every structure, every foundation that we build out of power and control and, someone over another, there's a leader somewhere in industry, churches, religion, state, there's a president or captain, the VIP of the company, the president. You have these, and then there's a hierarchy, and then there's everybody else below. This is the shift. We need some real change. This is what's going on. Just this whole melody and rhythm kind of flowing through my blood today, and this is what's going on. I can feel I'm kind of like a little ornery, a little fiery, and it's kind of flowing through me. I can pick up on some of this stuff, and I wrote about it in my book Soul Ship, so it's there if you want to read that. And that came out at a time in 2019 when everything was just about ready to come undone. And we were leading up to this point through the years, but we're finally in it. And I'm seeing it with my family, my friends, everybody is somewhere or another coming undone. And those of us who were considered to be the ones who were, hiding or in the background or not really speaking up, that aggressive go-getter type of personality, like you're supposed to make something of yourself and succeed and all this stuff. We're the ones who are solid for the ones who are going to need us here now and coming very soon. And it's a quickening happening to each one of us. Every single person, every grain of sand is not going to be left untouched during this shift. And there's some real change happening. And I watch the news sometimes, and I only do because of the purpose of what I do for my work. And I really just watch the mannerisms of people, and I watch how they are holding themselves and the words between the words. And I can just see so much fear and anxiety and engagement into noise of the unknown, of what's going to happen. And again, fear, because that's what the mind does. It can't find the answers to keep you safe or to figure out what's going on. It causes an emotion, and then there's a frenzy, and then it's like a mass consciousness frenzy, and it's in the air, and it's easy to join if you don't know that it's in the air. And there's that happening now, and I'm kind of riding on the tail end of the whale in a sense, and that's what this message is. So we need some real change. Some real change. And that's what's happening. Real change. And we've been waiting for this. Those of us who've been sitting here day after day, week, month, year after year, decade after decade. It's been 3 decades now for myself. And, eventually it collects, and being in this realm for so long, it's heavy. And so we are present and we breathe. And the presence matters. It's important at this time, because none of that stuff that's happening, most of it has very little to do with you, very little to do with me. again, I catch the wave and then I bring it back. It's like a boomerang, kind of bringing it back around full circle again for the energetic movement to happen. And those listening to these videos, again, you know how I work. We need some real change. Some real change. We're not messing around this time. It's actually happening, and it's exciting. And where I stand with all this, being human, just being a human, you're in a body and it has functions and it works a certain way, and it's limited until you really start playing around with it. We have a brain that never shuts up. Everybody's neurotic. Everybody's got the cray-cray. There's a lot of mind chatter, especially if you're coming home to yourself. If you're waking up and really kind of going in and doing that inward work, you can really start to have a lot of that mind chatter go on. And not everybody goes through this, Some people have that mellow space where they're present and they breathe and the mind chatter's in the background. When it comes to business and government and law, and it comes down to the well-being of the individual and taking care of it for a life-sustaining way of being, where we have been living now, and it's not just one country or another, every single place where humanity has situated themselves and set up their foundations on the old is dismantling, and it's all coming undone. And it seems as though the world looks like, depending on where you are, none of it's really taking place, but really you can't hide from it anymore. It's everywhere. We don't have TVs where you just turn the TV on. That format changed, and now you can get the news, and it's bigger than, because now we have double duality. We have more than duality occurring. We have a quadrality. And so there's so much more avenues and more available to get information. And again, it's all on the mind. It's all mind chatter. Everything up to this point with humanity, and we're still going with it, but it's getting tighter and tighter and tighter. It's getting harder to stay in that mind and the stickiness of the thoughts, whatever's happening in your personal life, relationships. Finances is big. I mean, it's expensive to live here in this realm. Thus far. That's why we need some real change, and there's some real changes going on. And just hold on. Hold on for that. Hold on. Because it's really intense, and it's hitting home for a lot of people. And that's why these messages come out every now and then. I'm very picky and choosy in how I use this platform, because I don't have this same identity of look at me and owning I'm being a guru or making anything of this. I am that. I do it's the expression of myself, and this is what this is. I guess it's not the easiest thing for me to do, but I'm doing it here, especially if the energies of this entail that I'm riding on the whale right now fits this kind of ornery type of flamboyant energy. I'm having fun anyway. Sometimes I can get carried away with the intensity of the emotions that are brought with the thoughts, and when I look at that, and then I take a good deep breath, and then I'm back to center, and back to my center again. And so this is what we do. There's no problems, only if we're in the mind. There's no challenges, only if I go at it with my thoughts. All is well, and there's no such thing as evil. There's only self-absorption. Many members of the human family are really obsessed with themselves. And it's all in what you believe too, but beliefs are limiting. And the process in which we're in right now, there's no method to the madness in which we're coming home to ourselves. And I say just step back, take a good step back from it all, and regroup. And we say let the dust settle. Because there's some real changes happening. I have to say it again and again. You need some real change. Some motherfucking change. Some real change. No light changes anymore. That's the apocalypse. This is the apocalypse. That which was hidden is now revealed. All your relationships can go to hell. All your finances, you could be homeless. There could be something come in and destroy everything you have. I have a bunch of friends and family that live on the coastlines. I know this to be true. The water is here. It's not going anywhere, even where I am. I live in a floodplain. And when I moved in here, I was told, oh no, that never happens. Don't worry. And there's no worrying, and it's funny because the first thing of that never happens. Not these times. There's some real change occurring, and there could be a flood that comes in and rip this place apart. And there's also no sitting there trying to negotiate with the spirits of nature to try to stop any of this. We need this to happen. It's important. And for some real change, we're not messing around anymore. No filtration of this and that. We're doctoring anything. This is the real deal. It's happening. And we're getting sick of it. Those of us who are awake and aware of everything, those of us who are still playing around with their limited identities of the self and their biology, it's coming to an end. Are we going to be there for those? We don't have to be. It seems like a burden sometimes. Sometimes it seems kind of heavy to have to deal with that. Because where I stand, you know, I sit in a very mellow, graceful movement within myself. And if someone comes in and tries to trigger me because they're coming undone, it doesn't unsettle my pond. Will I sit and tell them to fuck themselves? Absolutely. I don't hesitate to tell somebody to go fuck off. And it's okay to do that. We need some real change. We're not doctoring this anymore. You know, a true healer heals themselves first. A real true healer will tell the peoples of the real true happening without dancing around with all of this love and light and let's throw compassion around and really not applying it to ourselves and walking in a heart center. See, I can tell these things. If somebody comes up to me and says something to me, I'm not going to sit there in the aim, ready, shoot mode, but I'm already in a moment of the presence. So if someone says something to me and it doesn't resonate, I'll be like, fuck you. And it's okay to do like that. We have this spiritual community that rose up during these times, and it's just a facade. And that too is crumbling. That too has a very limited nature to it. Everything's expanding, and there's endless potentials and possibilities, and you can wear any type of hat at any time that you want at any given moment of the day. And that's why I'm doing this, just like this, and it's okay. And you know, everything really is mental, and when you get down to it, we have presence. We have the mind that chatters away and it doesn't shut up. We have our breath when we breathe, and it's there. See, it's presence. It doesn't change anything about where I'm at with anything before or after. But this moment, and it continues on, and then the moment shifts. And so here we are, and this is the quickening for the human race, because we're coming out of that mental concept that there's a clock and a calendar and time is this way and that way, when it doesn't really exist. But it's part of our consciousness, which is part of how we aged and became that old person at the end. And old age is in the mind, again with the time and space, which is not separate from consciousness. This quickening is coming in with the storms, with the earthquakes, with the tremors, with everything. And it all has to do with the changing of the disappropriation of where the water is. And it had to happen because we needed to shift the water around. It's just got locked up. And in your bodies too, mostly water. It's all shifting around. The alignments are coming in and out, and that's what happens all the time. It's always coming in and out of balance, never to be stationary, never to be in one way. Always moving, always moving. You keep moving. You don't keep still during these times. You know, staying in one particular type of being, type of way. You can just change with the way, the expression of all that is that's coming through this body, and that's playing and going at this thing called life. That's living. It's really living. It's not you know, getting dressed up in your favorite, garments and going out to a fancy restaurant and, eating the best food and drinking all that. That's living too. Everything is. It's all part of it. It's just this too, the expression of expressing more than you thought that you could. Again, it's all up in the mind, and that was what was keeping us back and limiting us to a certain identity and way of being. Okay, so that's enough for today. Thank you.